A few weeks ago, I received this magazine from a good friend over in Scotland. Now, this is the Classic Pop Series 1984, 40 Years On. Now, within this magazine, there's a section where the editors have given us their top 40 songs from 1984. So, in addition to going over their choice, more importantly, I will give you my top 10 from 1984. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, before we go over the contents of this, a couple of points to add. First of all, this came from a very good friend of mine over in Scotland, Derek. Now, do me all a favour, I've left a link in the description. Please subscribe to his channel. There's a lot of music content and a lot of album reviews, including some great albums from the 80s. Now, second of all, there's a big, I'm going to say a sticker, there's a big circle here that says 40 years on, and it doesn't compute in my brain that this all happened 4 decades ago. And to put it into some context here, had this magazine been issued in 1984, they would have been looking at the songs riding high on the hit parade from 1944. I just do not know where the time has gone. But anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's see what the editors of this magazine think are the top 40 songs from 1984. And as I said in the introduction, stay tuned and I will give you my top 10 from 1984. So because there are 40 songs to get through, I'm just going to race through this. I will leave you to come to your own conclusions as to whether or not this is a good top 40. But at number 40, they have Don't Tell Me by Blancmange. Number 39 was The Riddle by Nick Kershaw. 38, Madam Butterfly by Malcolm McLaren. Number 37, Doctor Doctor from the Thompson Twins. Keep this song in mind. Number 36, Like to Get to Know You Well by Howard Jones. Number 35 was Thief Like Us from New Order. At 34, we have Sensoria from the Cabaret Voltaire. Number 33 is Dazzle from Susie and the Banshees. Number 32, Red Guitar by David Sylvian. 31, Central Rain, by R.E.M. And number 30 is Speed Your Love to Me by Simple Minds. Now moving on. At 29, we have Together in Electric Dreams, and that's Georgie Moroder and Phil Oakley. 28, The Ghost in You by the Psychedelic Furs. 27, The Glamorous Life by Sheila E. 26, People Are People by Depeche Mode. 25, What Presents from Orange Juice. And 24 was Pearly Dewdrops by the Cocteau Twins. 23, we may see this one again. This is Dancing with Tears in My Eyes from Ultravox. 22, High Energy, Evelyn Thomas. 21, Tinseltown in the Rain by the Blue Nile. I'm going to be honest, I do not remember this one at all. Number 20, The Reflex from Duran Duran. And number 19, The Caterpillar by The Cure. And at number 18, The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. 17, 99 Red Balloons by Nena. 16, You Spin Me Round Like a Record from Dead or Alive. 15, You're the Best Thing from the Style Council. 14, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, The Smiths. At number 13, When Love Breaks Down by Prefab Sprout. Number 12, Robert De Niro's Waiting from Bananarama. 11, Here Comes the Rain Again from the Eurythmics. Now it's the top 10. It's My Life by Talk Talk at number 10. Number 9, Borderline from Madonna. Number 8, I Feel For You, Chaka Khan. Number 7, Two Tribes from Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Number 6, it's Sade with Smooth Operator. Number 5, The Careless Whisper by Wham / George Michael. Billed as a solo song by George Michael, but it was on the Wham album. So number 4, Shout from Tears for Fears. Number 3, Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. Number 2, Prince with Purple Rain. And bizarrely, number 1, Small Town Boy by Bronski Beat. As you can see, some rather interesting choices for the top 40, many of which were not on my radar at all. So to rectify that, I will now give you my top 10 songs from 1984. So to start things off, in at number 10, we have U2 with Pride in the Name of Love. Now, I have to confess, I am not a fan of U2, but when I heard that song for the first time, I thought, my God, that is a really, really good song. So that is my number 10. Number 9, we have Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Two Tribes. Now, obviously, Relax was the headline maker for Frankie Goes to Hollywood, but in my opinion, Two Tribes is the better of the two songs. And at number 8, we have Ultravox with Dancing with Tears in My Eyes. Now, a lot of people associate Ultravox with the song Vienna, which of course is an absolute 80s classic. But Dancing with Tears in My Eyes is such a catchy number and a really, really good song. The number 7, I have Nick Kershaw with Wouldn't It Be Good? And Nick Kershaw, I think 84 was the height of his career, and it is just such a really well constructed song. It deserves to be in the top 10. Now at number 6, we have Dead or Alive with You Spin Me Around Like a Record Baby. Now, just to clarify something here, whilst it reached number 1 in March of 1985, it was released in November of 84. And this was, I believe, the first number 1 for the Stock Aitken and Waterman team. This is just a classic Stock Aitken Waterman song with the, arpeggiated bass lines, and it's just a real 80s classic. Now at number 5, we have Shout from Tears for Fears. Again, this is one of these iconic songs that always seems to crop up when people talk about great songs from the 80s, and it certainly is a great song. Now at number 4, I have Thompson Twins with Doctor Doctor. This was another one whereby back in the 80s I was not a fan of Thompson Twins, but I could recognize just how catchy this song was. Really good chorus and well deserving of making the top 5. Now, at number 3, we had to get something a bit heavier into this top 10, so we have 2 Minutes to Midnight from Iron Maiden. And as far as, 80s Iron Maiden goes, this was probably about as catchy a single as they had. And whilst it didn't quite make the top 10 in 84, it did peak at number 11, and I think it is a worthy entry in my top 10. Now, at number 2, we have the song that got me into Duran Duran, and that was The Reflex. Now, bearing in mind, when this came out, I was still listening to Iron Maiden and Motorhead, but when I saw this song on Top of the Pops, something about it really appealed to me, and the following day, I asked my mum if we could go to the neighbouring town where there was a John Menzies store, and I purchased the Seven and the Ragged Tiger cassette, and the rest is history. And at number 1, not only is it the best Christmas song from the 1980s, I think this was the best song of 1984 simply because it just brings back so many happy memories for me as a kid back in the 80s. And whilst Band-Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas was the big Christmas number 1, and rightly so because it was for such a good cause, you have to feel a bit of sadness for Wham in that had they just delayed the release, they could have had that coveted Christmas number 1 spot. But as it is, I have put this one at number 1 in my top 10 songs from 1984. Okay, so let me stress, trying to compile 10 songs from a whole year is an extremely difficult task, and the chances are if I were to do this list again, it would be completely different. But as it was at the time of filming, I decided that was my top 10. And I should also apologize just in case some of these songs are now stuck in your head, because there are some really catchy tunes in my top 10. So let me know in the comments, what do you think firstly of the editor's top 40? I think it was pretty awful. Let me know. Also, what do you think of my top 10? And if you don't mind, feel free to leave your top 10 songs from 1984 in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. please drop a like, share the video, make sure you are subscribed, and stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.